industry. So super happy to be here. Oh, I see that my internet might be unstable. So that's fantastic. And just for you to know as well, and I'll talk about the Career Innovation Project, the CLD, but just so you know, we now have a channel also on YouTube. So I know many of you were asking me where to find the recordings. So just so you know, we have a YouTube channel and this one will be added to it. So thank you for being here. I have my colleague Juan, who is in the kind of the back here doing the tech check. And Juan is our new job developer here. So I hope you'll be able to meet him at some point in your journey. So I'd like to take a second, maybe take a deep breath, connect your feet to the ground, and just allow yourself to be here, be present, and reflect on the Indigenous land that we're working, living, loving, learning. I'm currently on campus at Railroads, and this is the traditional lands of the Lagwagan-speaking people, known as the Sunhi and Esquimalt nations. And it's with deep gratitude that really I'm here learning every day from those amazing population, families, and nations. I have so much to learn, and I'm so grateful that at Railroad I have that opportunity. And if you know the traditional lands that you're joining us from, please put it in the chat. It's always so lovely to connect this way. So today, the agenda. So of course, we'll talk a little bit about careers development here. Panelist presentation. We'll have an amazing discussion with 5 panelists today. We'll answer your question and we'll try to save some time for networking because I find that this is the beauty. Even if we're on Zoom, it's amazing to be able to connect with our panelists and ask kind of one-on-one question. And why are we doing this event today? So the Career Innovation Project is, I'm just letting more people in. The Career Innovation Project here, it's a new initiative here at Railroads University. We got some funding from the federal government. And what we're trying to achieve is build that campus-wide opportunities for students and industry to connect. And we also want to talk about Canada's transition to a net zero economy. So every month or so, we have events on campus, online, hybrid events to really connect students and just hear from what's going on in the industry. And this is how we end up talking about entrepreneurship today. We have a team of career advisors that are always here to work with the students. And we also have a team of employer services working with employers, nonprofit organizations. As we know, connection matters. And I also wrote a little quote here for entrepreneurs today because entrepreneurship is about passion, perseverance, and resiliency. So they are traits by which many entrepreneurs define themselves. And I'm sure that's part of the stories we will hear today. I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I think this is why I'm so excited to be here and hear from the stories to get you inspired and get you thinking as well as a student or maybe as an entrepreneur yourself. So this is a graph that I really like. I don't know, I can see you, but I'm sure many people are like myself and we laugh at this one, and maybe the panelists, you can reflect on that. I feel that often we think that our career will be like a smooth transition or one like line, but it's all over the place a little bit. And it's like, as student at Railroads, maybe you want to level up what you're already doing. Maybe you want to transition to a new career. So this is a little bit how it looks like. And you're like, where should I go? What should I do? So attending event is an amazing first step for you to connect with folks doing the work that maybe you're trying to do. So thank you again. And our panelists, looking at my slide, I'm sure you know that I'm not in graphic designer or something. So if anyone wants to help me out with slide, I just wanted to showcase those beautiful smiles of our panelists. So I will just give you a brief introduction of them and then I'll pass it out to them. But Ashley from Supply Victoria, and I'll spotlight all of you so we can see you. But Ashley, we met actually in 2019. We did Project Zero with Synergy Enterprise back in 2019 when she founded Supply Victoria and I founded the NULA project. So we have a long-term relationship. And Ashley, I'm so happy that you won the Waste to Resource EcoStar Award in 2023. So congratulations. We'll hear from you in a minute. We also have Chelsea joining us from Paper Art Film. That's the age for French people. Chelsea, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Paper Art Film. And you also are winner from the EcoStar Award 2023 for community leadership. And I'm glad to hear that you're a BCom graduate from UVic and you specialize in entrepreneurship. So very exciting to hear about that. We have Jayesh that is joining us from Joni. They won the social impact at the EcoStar Award 2023. He has an MBA from UVic. And earlier this week, I was just reading about the day we had the Menstrual Health Day. So I can't wait to hear more about it, but it was kind of a national movement, and I really find it inspiring. We have Katie from Nature Bee, and you are the Ecopreneur of the Year, EcoStar Awards 2022. And you're also the recipient of the Business of the Year Award from the Chamber of Commerce and Emerging Business Person of the Year 2024. Wow. Like I was just reading about you all over the last days and weeks, and I just got so impressed with everything you're all doing. So welcome, Katie. And we have Marie-Maude. We met in a mentorship group, kind of a coaching group with WeBC a few months ago. And I saw, Marie-Maude, that on June 5th, you are a finalist for Le Prix de la Panne Bleue that will be about Francophone entrepreneurs in the Greater Vancouver. So congratulations. And I think I'll just show you a few more slides before we get to the conversation. Upcoming events, so maybe some of the students, you just want to take a picture or print screen of those. We have external events, internal events. I'm building a new panel discussion on June 26th with Indigenous businesses, which will be super inspiring. And we have as well the climate risk assessment for those of you who are in environment, if you want to be part of that one too. And just a reminder that we post everything in Career Roads, so that's something I'll discuss with the panelists after the webinar. We put all the job posting, volunteer opportunities, field practice. So if you're a student and you're looking to know more and really curated offerings for Royal Road students, please just scan this and download Career Roads. So that's it for my talking, blah, 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 and I will pass it over to, let's start with you, Ashley, introducing yourself, and I ask the panelists to say a fun fact about them as well.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley. I guess my fun fact will be that Nancy is not, I feel like you could be a panelist here, not only runs a really cool zero waste initiative, but she's also my yoga instructor. So looking at that chart and hearing you speak about it not being a straight road, I really identified with that. And wearing many hats and trying on different things, I think Nancy always inspires me because I don't know how she has all the energy to do all the things that she does, but yeah. So I'm the executive director of Supply Victoria Creative Reuse Center. And I'm just gonna share some slides with you. Can everybody see this here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So yeah, Supply, I will just go over what we do. So Supply is a nonprofit. Our mission is to divert materials from the landfill and put them into the hands of artists, students, and teachers. And we do that to create a more sustainable, creative, and inclusive Victoria. So how do we achieve that mission? We redistribute used arts, office, and school supplies and offer creative reuse workshops to people. And our vision is to accelerate the adoption of sustainability by providing the knowledge and the materials that people need to integrate sustainable thinking into the creative process. And I really do believe we have more than enough stuff. We have more than enough things on Vancouver Island and Victoria, and we just require more spaces and organizers to collect those materials and make them available for people and give them another shot so that they can get used in a more accessible and affordable way. So to achieve our mission, vision, philosophy, we have a number of programs. We have our material grant program where we provide free art supplies for community art projects. We have our volunteer program with over 40 active volunteers right now that support our mission work, organizing buttons and testing markers and supporting at events and things. We've got our creative reuse education, where we offer these hands-on creative reuse workshops showing people how to upcycle waste into art. And we have our largest program, which is our Creative Reuse Center, which operates much like a thrift store for art supplies. And there are a lot of creative reuse centers in the States. There's over 100 of them, but they're a relatively new concept in Canada. And I was really excited and passionate to bring this model to Victoria. Pacific moved here from Portland, Oregon, to start this organization because of Victoria's commitment to climate action. It has the second highest, largest concentration of artists. And then there's tons of post-secondary institutions and artists and teachers, students that need access to materials. So yeah, we started in 2018. Nancy mentioned the incubator. That was a really connecting program for anyone who's focused on zero waste. I'd really highly recommend Project Zero. We started hosting workshops in 2018. We were called a Creative Reuse Center before we had a center. And then we had humble beginnings in a little shed. The top right image is me in the shed, where we gave out free art supplies. And then we opened our first Creative Reuse Center in July 2022 in the Arts Hub building downtown. And then we just moved to our own location with a more accessible entrance just this last spring. So why do I do this work? I know I was an art student, how hard it was to afford materials to make work. I remember that struggle, it was real. And then I know artists struggle to afford, and I know teachers often pay for their own classroom materials out of their own pocket, which is really sad to me. So on the other hand, we have all these materials that are needlessly going into the landfill. And like thrift stores have a huge waste problem. They throw away so much of what they get. Supply is really good at not throwing things away. So what we're trying to do is connect those dots. So we're redistributing used art, office, and school supplies to the people who need them most. And we do this to create more accessibility, more affordability, to create a more sustainable, creative, and inclusive Victoria. I want to quickly go over some positions that we're looking to fill. So this summer we're hiring a youth for June 21st to August 23rd. It's 30 hours a week, $18 an hour. And essentially you'd act as a sort of managing our Creative Reuse Center, the cash, seeing donations come in, explaining our pricing. We offer sliding scale on a lot of materials so that they're more accessible for more people regardless of income. Yeah, and then we've got a digital marketing specialist position. So if you're interested in yeah, curating content for our Instagram newsletter and supporting our sustainable and community-led initiative, then that's another opportunity here. All positions at Supply, they get 20% off at our store. And yeah, invitations to, we have these quarterly staff and volunteer parties that are really fun. And then a positive environmental impact in an inclusive and diverse workplace. We're also, if you're looking for a field practice placement, let me know. If you're interested in any of these positions, you can email me at ashley@supplyvictoria.ca. And yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at Supply Victoria. Our website is supplyvictoria.ca. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much. I'll maybe leave it on my email slide.
That's awesome, Ashley. Thank you. And yeah, good reminder. That's something we can do. I often reflect on like, what's the reciprocity we can bring? Like you're giving a lot of your time to show up here today. So thank you. Like I feel that everyone in the audience, all the panelists, we should follow them on social media or go give a Google review just to give you some help there. So thank you, and that will be mentioned in the recording as well. Chelsea, can we hear from you, please?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. As Nancy mentioned, my name is Chelsea Kenstrup, and I run a company called Paper Heart Films. We are a small video production company based out of Victoria. And we like to say that we create documentaries for everyone. So the idea that, you can only have a documentary if you are some big important person that the world wants to hear about, feels kind of outdated. And so the clients that we work with most often are people getting married. It's a great opportunity where all of the characters in your life are going to be in one room at one place. So it's a really interesting thing to witness and to be a part of, and to help people to capture those voices and faces while they're all in one place. We also work a lot with small to mid-size values-driven businesses. So those are mostly on the island, and is such a favorite part of my job to just drop yourself down into someone else's environment, similar to a wedding, actually, an environment you know nothing about, and learn as much as you possibly can, and then kind of help to tell people stories. So that's also really fun. And then we also do one documentary project a year. So for the last 3 years, we've been working on a docu-series called Sustainably Wed, where we're just exploring sustainability in the wedding industry. And if you've been to a wedding or have seen movies about weddings, I think you'll understand that there's a lot of low-hanging fruit in waste reduction and carbon footprint mitigation in weddings. So that's been really interesting to work with vendors on the island who are doing really awesome things, and to learn from others in other industries about what we can bring into that wedding industry to help make it more sustainable. So that project has led to kind of our newest venture, is we're taking that Sustainably Wed docuseries and moving that to be a community, a membership-based organization for wedding businesses on the island who are interested in lowering their carbon footprint and becoming more circular. And I'm actually a part of the Project Zero incubator right now with that project, which, as Ashley said, we're only a couple months in, but the connections alone have been so fantastic. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so that's kind of the latest, is moving that one project from within Paper Heart Films to being its own social enterprise. Is also probably, we aren't hiring any positions at the moment, but I feel like we have a lot of opportunities there for a field practice. If someone's interested in building, being a part of building a brand or branding, or especially in research. We're in a big research phase right now, and we'll be in the next couple of months. If you love data and surveys and all of that kind of fun communication stuff, you can have your pick of projects that we can help mentor you with. And as Nancy mentioned, I actually have a Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Victoria. I actually caught a very small glimpse of the entrepreneurial bug in high school. Instead of getting a job, I would film, the high school musicals and performances like that, which, yeah, at the time, I mean, I think I probably made about $0.25 per hour what my friends were making at their minimum wage jobs. But it was so exciting to be able to do my own thing and be my own boss, that I just loved it. And so I went to school, actually not for that, but to plan to work in nonprofit management, which I did for a number of years. But I also worked at another video production company as I was going to school to pay the bills. And as I was graduating, the person I was working for was shutting down the business. And I had kind of started to, gain some clients, take on some more responsibility. So I said, why not? And bought all of his equipment, which almost immediately went out of date as technology changed, and started my own business. which was Paper Heart Films back in 2011. Yeah, and so I was still working in nonprofit management. This was just something I was doing on the side. I thought to address the wage challenges that come sometimes with working in nonprofits. But the business kind of kept growing, and I had to make a choice. And so I decided to continue to grow Paper Heart, but with a really big values-driven focus on the company, which seemed like a nice kind of combination of the two worlds. Yeah, and here we are today.
That's amazing. Thank you. I was just about to ask you, yeah, did you have that in mind at your during your BCom program, but you answer it. So it's kind of a yes and no. What's the response on the island you find about kind of building a more sustainable wedding industry?
Yeah, it's mostly good. I think most people are, in theory, really excited and wanting to make change. Of course, in practice, becomes a little more challenging. The industry is definitely coming out of a really challenging 3 years with the pandemic. A lot of wedding businesses are tiny. You know, they're individuals. There are a lot of people who are creatives first and don't really have that business background or experience. And so yeah, part of what we'll be doing is helping businesses to become more sustainable on the environmental side, but also more sustainable in their kind of day-to-day operations as well, so that they have those resources and that time to be able to focus on that next level. But people have been really, really pumped. Our first season of the docuseries, we had 30 people involved, different businesses on the island who were already doing just amazing things. So I can't wait to see where it goes from that.
Yeah, same. Let us know how that goes. Yeah, and I hope it sparked ideas for some of our students, because I recall when I was working weddings here at Railroad, some students were approaching us of, can we get the flowers after a wedding and distribute them to hospital and home care centers? And so people had such a beautiful ideas. It's just, yeah, taking the time and working through the steps of making that happen.
Totally. Yeah, it's an industry filled with love. You know, just in the crux of it, it comes from love, and a lot of people get into working in that industry because they love that love. And so it makes a lot of sense to have that, you know, continue on past the wedding day and leave a positive footprint rather than a negative one.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. I'm not sure, Jayesh, are you with us, or maybe you have to take a call? Oh, here you are. Are you okay to share with us? Thank you.
You are muted. There we go.
Okay, yeah, I was waiting for access to mic. Hey everyone, my name is Jayesh. I'm a co-founder at Joni. It's a menstrual care company. The whole idea behind Joni is making sustainable period care accessible for everyone, which requires building an ecosystem of accessibility. What it means is working with governments, private organizations, non-profits, and even with the retail stores and everyone involved, to make sure that people get the products that they need wherever they are, whether they can afford or not, whether they live in metro town or like a remote community, or they identify as a woman or not, doesn't really matter. They get what they need, and we want to make sure that products that they receive are products that actually like provide them the dignity and like the support required, and not just the bottom of the barrel products, and kind of like be grateful that you have the products kind of experience. So that's what we are working on. Fun fact, I love playing sequence, which is my every evening thing with my wife, like spending half an hour just playing sequence. And we don't just build 2 rows, we go all the way like till we are done with all the cookies and everything, like we fill the whole board with yeah. And we started Joni, I think, just a day before we went into the pandemic. Not a good time to start a business. It was in March of 2020. A few things that we did initially to tackle the problem, or the problem that we identified was like 1 in 3 young women under the age of 25 cannot afford the menstrual care products. And this was a study that was conducted by Plan International, an online study done in like a Metro, Vancouver, and Toronto region, and had a couple of drawbacks. Like the first question itself was like, are you a woman? So if you don't identify as a woman, then you're not part of the study. Second thing, it was an online study, and so people who didn't have access to internet weren't part of the study. It was done in the metro town, so people who were living in the remote communities weren't part of the study. And so the real reality of the problem would be like much bigger. And so it was less about proving that the problem exists, but more about like understanding why the problem exists and what can we do about it to actually build a sustainable solution. Because with this massive problem, one-off donation of $10,000 or $15,000 wouldn't go anywhere. But if I spend $15,000 and what I studied from my entrepreneurial studies, maybe we can build something and can actually deliver something. And frankly, that's the best decision. So if you can find a problem that you find yourself really passionate about, and if you think that whatever you can do with like a little bit of money wouldn't go too far, maybe that's an idea to actually like go deeper and figure it out, like what can you do about it to actually build a solution and collaborate with other people to build something. And with the work that we have done so far, I think we have about like 400 plus nonprofit partners across Canada, from Nunavut to Victoria, who make sure that the communities that they support have the products that they need. We are in about 700 stores across Canada, and so people who want to buy products on retail shelves, they can buy the products online. And we are about like in 5,000 offices or universities and campuses across Canada. And so everybody has access to products and nobody is missing out on the opportunity for the sake of this 30 cents of a product. And that's the whole idea. And about the growth, we just hired 2 people, one in the marketing side and one in the operation side. We are growing, and so every month we are opening at least 1 new position. So keep an eye if you see something that you feel fits with your interest area, please apply. You can follow us on. I can put it in the chat box here. This is our Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram. Oh, somebody turn off the light for no reason. Yeah. You can also follow us on like LinkedIn, and just to keep yourself up to date if you are looking for a job in startups that's like a impact driven. It's a small team, but like everybody's like being a player, getting shit done and moving. So it's a really good team, and yeah, that's about the team. That's about me and the problem that we are solving. Please,
Yeah,
glad to
thank
be here.
you. That's wonderful. And I appreciate you mentioning LinkedIn because I think it's good practice too for everyone here looking for connections to go on LinkedIn and ask you to, to be a connection and a contact. And I think, are you two in the business, Jayesh? 2 people in leading the business?
Yeah, so it's Linda and I started and Linda joined, and we became like co-founders and raised money. And we started building this company. It's been 4 years, and now we have a team of 8 people. And it's growing. Yeah.
I have to admit, like, I love how humble you are because I'm following Joni since the day one, and you're blooming. Like, it's incredible the impact you're having. So congratulations. Yeah. I love that you're super humble, but I can imagine all the work behind that. So thank you. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
And Katie, you can go next.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I am Katie Gamble, and I am the founder of NatureBee. NatureBee, we're like an eco-friendly home goods company, and we're on a mission to basically make the world a more sustainable place. So maybe a bit more about myself is that I was born and raised in Victoria, BC, and grew up in the Saanich neighborhood, but I went to Camosun College for 2 years, and then took a year away in Australia, explored, came back a bit, and then thought I was going to finish up and apply to be a social worker. That didn't sort of seem to work out or align, and I was encouraged to apply for the School of Business at UVic. And so I applied and started there in, I guess it was 2016-ish. And yeah, now I run NatureBee full time. But I want to kind of like touch on a few things before I dive more into NatureBee, is that I spent most of like my high school years and a few years post high school working and supporting and advocating for people with disabilities and like integration into community. So before I started NatureBee and when I wanted to start NatureBee, I knew that I was going to have to find a way to like combine my passion for integration into community and also sustainability, which is like a huge part of who we are now and what we've built. So I know we'll talk about passion and stuff later, but that's just kind of something I want to preface with. But yeah, NatureBee actually started as my final school project for the Gustafson School of Business, and it started in my parents' basement. So you can imagine a tiny little basement with a kitchen, a really old oven, and my parents sitting down there every single night with me, like hand waxing beeswax wraps, to sell at farmers markets. So, yeah, what we sell is beeswax wraps, like reusable food wraps. We also now sell, concentrated cleaning tablets and the Swedish dishcloths. And we also do a whole range of custom things as well. So it's how we kind of make our business a bit unique, because there are other companies out there doing similar things, but we have different propositions and values and things like that. So yeah, started in my parents' basement. We grew really quick throughout COVID. That just like escalated everything and everyone was buying online. And so now we've grown into a team of 7, and 2 of those are co-op students. So we always hire co-op students. It's one of my favorite things to do because I was a co-op student at once. And so, yeah, we have 2 of them right now, one in sales and one in social media marketing. And they've been here 3 weeks and they are fantastic. But yeah, our products can be found at Whole Foods and Thrifty Foods, as well as like hundreds of other small shops across North America. So that's kind of a bit about the business and myself, and just really excited to be here today and chat with everyone. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Katie. And how does that feel to be born and raised here and see like now all the impact you have at the Chamber of Commerce? And I've seen you talk at one of the UVic big event for women in entrepreneurship, I think a year ago or 2.
Yeah.
How does that feel a bit surreal sometimes?
Yeah, I think like I know as entrepreneurs, we all tend to like just do these things and then forget about them. But I always need to reflect and say how cool it is that we have like opportunities to do this and, you know, talk about sustainability in such a beautiful part of the world. And I know we're in a niche, but it's been really cool to see how here the focus is so strong and now how we're like bringing that across North America and Canada. So yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. And Marie-Maude, would you like to go next?
Sure. So good morning, everyone. So my name is Marie-Maude Gros. I'm the founder of Pacific Quebec. That's a business, like a bilingual business development and marketing agency based in Vancouver. The fun fact about myself, let's say, after my study in Quebec, I crossed the Canada by car, not knowing like where I knew I was going to Vancouver, but the point is I had no plan then, just trying out what like to live here in Vancouver. And 8 years plus later, I'm still here, and now I have like I own my own business. So that's quite a like, let's say like I've gone a long path, let's say. So a bit about the business. So like I said, it's a business development and marketing agency. We help mostly like business that are, let's say, from Vancouver, not Vancouver, but from BC that want to expand in Quebec, or the opposite. Like we help like the Quebec market to expand in other provinces. So we mostly help business that have this bilingual aspect needs, where to understand the culture better. Like I know for some, like Quebec is not an easy, like they almost call it another country, let's say, like it's a total different like place. So and like I started the business not so long ago, so it's been about a year and a half, like, so it was early 2023, and in very little time we've grew. So basically, we've partnered with, so we are like helping 1-800-GOT-JUNK, Earth Zone, business, like also from like the island, like basically like in a very little time, we were able to work with such good brands that are also sustainable. Like we like to help these kind of brands. And other than that, in terms of the team, like I know some mentioned, so we are also growing. We have hired someone last week. We are like 3 now full-time in the team, and we also have like an extended team. Like let's say we have a lot of people that are working on a freelancing with us in order to help with a different project we need to provide to our clients. Other than that, I would say, and maybe it's not really a fun fact, but because you're here and you're attending this event, I would have to say that my business, I grew it only by networking and referrals so far. Like all the clients we've got, even though I name big names, they are all by like networking and referrals. I know I'm a marketing agency. We do a lot of digital marketing for a lot of business, but some like it depends on the need, obviously. But so far we've grown organically. So that's something I'm proud to say. And that's why I also tell you students to really understand the power of networking. It is like a really powerful tool if you're able to connect with the right people. Yeah. So I don't know.
Wow, yeah, you're reading my mind. I was just about to say, tell us about networking. So thank you for saying it, because you said most contracts you got from being in, was it mostly in person?
Yeah, so in person, just because everyone knows other people that might need. And also the other thing that is really important, and I know that Jayesh mentioned it, is that when you know your value of proposition, which I explained for me, it's that bilingual aspect. We are quite unique. I know there's tons of marketing agency. I know there's business development marketing agency, but like we have this value proposition of understanding, for example, Quebec, and we are local here for the Quebec market that also like wants to work with us. So we have this special like we found our value proposition, which is very important. And once you know that, I feel that when you go to those networking events, like it's easy to connect with people, and of course, like understand if they might need to this, can you solve their problem or not? It's always about like what's in there for them also. So keep that in mind.
Very cool, yeah. And I know something we hear a lot here at Railroads with students from Quebec or from abroad. Sometimes people are scared a little bit to be like, oh, I'll be networking and it's not my first language. But that's good to know that like we have to just show up and do it. Wonderful. And thank you so much. Yeah, and I'll just go ahead with my 2 questions. And of course, if people have questions, you can start adding them in the chat. So I think one of the questions I asked before for the panelists is, what is the best advice you receive in your career? And feel free to go popcorn style and you can add to each other. And Ashley, I'm trying to spotlight you again. Here you go. Awesome.
I can start with this. So I would kind of say like one thing, and it might seem very, very general, but and people say it all the time, but it's been huge in just like my career as a whole, is like embrace any like failure that happens as a really, really big opportunity and learning, or really big learning opportunity. So it can be as little as like you sent out an email that was wrong and now you'll never do it again, or even in terms of like business for us. You know, we put on a beeswax wrap roll that was supposed to be cut as smalls and it ended up being cut as a medium, and it was like a huge failure. We were like, oh my God, we've just wasted so many things. And we were like, what can we do to like turn this around? And so we launched like a medium sale, which was like half small, half medium, ended up being like our biggest sale to date that we've ever done. For in terms of like sales, like profit and things like that. So it was like a really big mistake, and we were like, oh no, but there's a way to like turn it around into a big learning opportunity. And now that's something that we offer to our customers. So yeah, just kind of taking those failures and embracing them as learning. Yeah.
I love that, Katie. That's so good. A piece of advice that someone offered to me really early on in my career was the power of mentorship. And I think it took me a long time to utilize that advice. And I was trying to remember like why, and I think I was under this understanding that if I were to ask someone to be my mentor, that they would like take on all the like emotional baggage that I have related to like my concerns and issues. But as someone who's both like used mentorship and given mentorship, I feel like when someone approaches me with their issues, it's like I don't have the same emotional attachment to the problem at hand. So it's like it's actually really fun for me to see their issues in light of my experience and creatively problem solve. So I guess I'd say don't be shy and look for someone who has something that you're trying to have in your life and your career. And I'll also say that it's not about like picking someone's brain. Like I really hate that expression because it's very like extractive, that it's more about like a reciprocal relationship. So if you're looking for someone to mentor you, you could potentially offer something in return. Like in the past, I've offered like digital marketing advice or like a review of their website or just something that I knew that I could provide for that person. And then also I think gratitude, and never underestimate the power of a handwritten thank you letter. I think that goes a long way to thank the person for their time. And then really going into the conversation with this potential mentor, like planning ahead of time and coming in with some really focused questions. And I'm always really touched when people have taken the time to like kind of do a little bit of research about me or supply. Like even 1 minute of Googling, it just really shows like why the person wants me to mentor them than anyone. Like why why me? You could just like pick anyone, but yeah, so all of those things to say, I've just grown so much as an entrepreneur with the support of people with more experience and knowledge, and it's just really lovely to continue learning and then to share my knowledge with others.
I would definitely second that. If you're reaching out to someone with a cold call person, or whether it's an email or a call, definitely the personalization is so huge. We get emails pretty frequently from people, wanting to get into film or looking to get into that area. And the number of people who don't even include my name in the email. And it's obviously just a form, like Victoria's small, there's no way that they're reaching out to more than at max 10 companies. Yeah, if there's no personalization in there, it's gone before I'm even, to be fair, I'm always looking at it because it's a small community and you want to see what's going on, and maybe someone's really good anyway, but realistically, a small amount of effort there makes a huge difference. I think that for me, one of the things that's really stuck with me is in terms of advice is to listen to your gut. And, sometimes your gut has fear. And so, being able to take the temperature and be like, okay, is my gut saying no just because I'm a little bit scared because this is a big opportunity? But once you get past that, to just, if something feels wrong, it's likely for a reason. And I remember in my first year of business, I just graduated from school, and there was this, at the time, I thought really awesome collective of women-owned wedding businesses. And they were like the coolest, like all the cool kids were in this collective. But it was really, really expensive for what it was. And they reached out and asked if I wanted to join. And I was so torn because it was like, it would have been most of my income for the year at that point. And I reached out to one of my business profs and she met me for a coffee, and I said, like, I just don't know what to do. I was so torn because they were so pushy about it. And she said, like, it feels to me like this feels wrong for you for yourself. why are you really wanting to do this? And when I kind of step back, it's like, you know what, this doesn't feel right. And sure enough, within a year, they had imploded and there was drama and half the businesses ended up failing, which is obviously horrible. I never wish that on anyone, but I was glad that I wasn't a part of that. So I think just listening to your gut, but also at the same time, being sure to check your biases while you're listening to your gut too, because sometimes your gut can have some biases as well. But yeah, that's been a big piece of advice that's stuck with me.
I guess I can go. And also I want to take the opportunity because you talked about emailing and also basically, obviously I worked before starting my business, I worked in the business development field also and marketing in the past. And obviously we did a lot of, I mean, I did cold calling, I did like email prospecting. I mean, I'm still doing sometimes, but not for Pacific Quebec, but for other businesses. And one thing I would have to that I learned through that journey is that when there are a door that are closed, for example, one door that closed to you, like it takes many, like we often hear that, but that's so true. Like there's many no's for a yes, and you really need to be resilient. And it doesn't mean like for me, honestly, at this point, because I guess it's the experience speaking, but like when I hear a no, like of course it's like, oh, okay, that sucks, but it just goes like, okay, that there's other opportunity out there, and then that just means there's way more other things that will come out, and you just need to be persistent, resilient, and just go to the next step. And honestly, I'm sure like all the entrepreneur here can relate to that, like where we probably like what we are telling you today, there's a lot of success here, which I mean, I shouldn't quote success, but I mean, we have a lot of success, but like it also mean that we had a lot of rejection for other things in the past. Like it just doesn't come without any failure. There's a long journey always before that. So that what I would say, don't be afraid to be failing or like to be trying things.
Wow. Whole lot of advices actually. I would second Ashley in everything that she just said about being mindful when you're networking and do a small Google search or something about the person you are meeting, and if you're meeting someone, be sure about like what you actually want from that person and what you can contribute to that person. And that's been like a really helpful to me actually in most of the time. Like if I'm going to investors, I'm presenting an opportunity to actually invest in something that I believe in. If I'm going to a mentor, I'm actually providing them like a seat in the advisory board or something, a little bit of the compensation or something to be part of this. And we are also like open up the whole like the behind the door scene for them. So even when I'm looking for a co-founder, we are offering an equity or something. When we are looking for an employee or networking, it goes both ways. Not just employees looking for employer looking for employees as well. We are offering salaries and much more things and everything, right? So every time you go to someone, just be sure that you're offering something for them, and that becomes like a habit. And every time somebody is like looking at like, oh, you are giving them a call or something, they know that you are going to add some value. And it's not just like extracting something from their time and everything. And so, yeah, and again, like Victoria is such a small community. If you know one person, you know 5 other person in the same industry. Basically, that's how it works. So be mindful of like for what reasons you are connecting with people, and be mindful of their time, and also like add value to whoever you're connecting is one advice. And because this is about entrepreneurship, the one advice I can give is like get started. Whether you have means or not, whether you know right people or not, whether you have right product or not, whether you understand the problem or not, just get started. Like you can keep reading about swimming, but unless you jump in it, like you actually have to start swimming at one point. So get into it. You will find the right people, and it's kind of like an incentive as well, right? Like once you have like see what's the motivation. For example, if you have spent like $1,000 into something, then you have like, okay, fuck, I'm gonna lose this $1,000 if I don't continue, or whatever that thing that motivates you to keep going. Like put something in it so that it will give you some incentive to actually like continue the journey and get started. You can get all the advices, and it wouldn't mean shit if you are not actually acting. So I would that's the biggest advice that I've received. And in entrepreneurship also, like don't go for mentorship to the people who are like a shining stars or something like a big sort of like a big personality or something. Look for the people who are like 3 or 6 months ahead of where you are. Because if somebody achieved like $1 billion dream or something 10 years ago, the world has changed significantly in last 10 years. What worked for them wouldn't work probably for you. So see who is like 3 or 6 months ahead of you. Get that advice like, hey, what did you do in last 3 or 6 months, and what can I do here? Because the chances are high that their financial situation and your financial situation is not too far like away from each other. And the market or the reach that they have is also like not too bigger than what you are trying to achieve at that point. And it's okay to change your mentors. One person can't deliver everything to you. Like you're buying your products from multiple sources, your internet services and Wi-Fi, and like your networking support and your education. You have multiple people delivering these services. Same way, you need multiple mentors in multiple stages. So have a mindful like time frame and go about it. Yeah, that's it.
Wow, that's so powerful. Thank you. And I know my next question was like, what do we want the students to take away? But I think you all answered that already. But maybe I'll jump in with, and I'm getting some question one-on-one too, but would you recommend one association or group that you're part of that is really making a difference? Like I know I mentioned the Chamber of Commerce here in Victoria, but is there any other, networking that you can recommend to the audience?
I would say LinkedIn. For me, like when I came to Canada in 2017 and had no clue what the entrepreneurship looks like or the community looks like here in Canada, I just messaged 3 CEOs from like tech companies in town about like, hey, I love that you did your BCom at UWIC and you started this company and see that you have like 7-8 employees. How did you do it? I'm just new into this country. I want to start an entrepreneurship journey at one point. I want to learn. And that person actually took me to his office over the weekend and Saturday, went for a coffee, showed his office and everything, and it was like, this is how I did it. And these are the people that you can talk with when you are raising or doing something. So community is small, and when it's small, it's very impactful. Actually, you're not competing against like 1,000 people to meet with someone, and it goes both ways. And everybody is interested in like the prosperity of the community. So instead of looking for like a large group of people, uh, find those like gems that you can actually connect and like learn from them something. And one-on-one interactions goes a long way rather than like meeting with someone. I think in like a conference where there are like 100 other people's waiting in the row queue. Like I hardly remember anyone that I meet at conference. Like it's just like there are just so many people, and everybody has a wine in hand. So like it's yeah. But see what works for you. Yeah.
I'll say that there's a Slack or a Discord, I think, for BC impact businesses. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I post all my job positions there and events, and it's BC wide, but there's a lot of information, a lot of people on there. And so if you're kind of focused in the sustainability world, that is a great resource. It's managed by Rob Fisher at Scale Collaborative.
I forgot about that one. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, it's a Slack channel with, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of people now, I guess. I'll try to find the link.
I would add to that, like, I mean, one of the trick I do is to sign up to a lot of newsletters of different organization that offers like networking event. to keep on, like I do that to keep on track on networking, on fundings, different things that like just to keep like active in terms of like what's going on in the field, and that's often where you get to know what's gonna come up like before others, like because on social it's not necessarily like it comes after often than newsletters. So that is one of the things I do, and I'm also in many groups of like not the Discord you just talked about, but like there's other group of entrepreneurs out there. If you're and there's also specific group like you mentioned sustainable groups, but they are also like for women, for example, or LGBTQ plus like a group or whatever. Like there are different groups that you can join that have like a community that you can explore, like because all individuals have connections. I mean, the more connection you have, like the more opportunity there can be also. So I don't know, that's what I would give you, like, of course, be in the right group that you're genuinely interested in, of course.
I would add the forum for women. So that's just been like an incredible resource for my company growing and then connecting with others like Jayesh, you guys know about that, or Linda, and she's become like a mentor to me. But just the way that you can connect with, I don't know, different other businesses, there's grants, there's funding, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you can connect with really great people and then they become your friends and mentors and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the forum for women.
And I know I said don't cold call people without any information, but I totally agree with Jayesh there. Anytime that you can just reach out to someone, put in a little bit of work so that they know that you're serious. But anytime anyone's reached out with an email wanting to meet up for a coffee or just ask you questions, learn more, I'll do it anytime. And usually I do get something out of it as well. As Ashley was saying, it kind of helps you to continue to reiterate to yourself what you're doing and why you're doing it. Yeah, it was huge for me when I was starting my business, is just reaching out individually to people. And I think just keeping in mind that most people are less scary than they maybe seem. I think often we see people, who are successful as being like, oh, I can't reach out to them. They're busy. They're not gonna have time. But even on this call, so I've been a fan of Ashley's for a couple of years now. And I haven't reached out because I'm like, oh, that's a great business, super busy. It just hasn't happened. But already in this call, we've connected and are gonna, meet up at some point and chat. So yeah, just shoot your shot, go for it. And, people are people. We're all just human beings, and likely that big person that you're, looking up to is just as happy to hear from you as you are to chat with them.
Wow, thank you so much, everyone. That was so powerful. We're getting a lot of thank you note in the chat, and I just want to be mindful of people's time. We have been an hour in already. I'll stop the recording, say a big thank you, and maybe if some people want to stay in just for a few minutes to ask other questions if you'd like. But yeah, a really big thank you. And something I want to try is, can I ask everyone to unmute and say a big thank you? I'm not sure if I can do that. Sorry, I'm just stuck thinking out loud. I wanted to unmute everyone and say thank you, but I'm sure we can use the chat to do so. So amazing. I'll send the recording, all the links to your social media and website as well. And yeah, I just hope that I've seen already in the chat, people are like, oh my God, I want to be an entrepreneur now, or now that gives me the courage to keep moving. So that was the goal of the session. And I couldn't have done it with all of you. So thank you so much. And I'll stop the recording here.